Hello and welcome along to Dealstream, the show where we introduce you to some of the sharpest minds in clean tech. And this is a Nordic special edition of Dealstream. All of the startups you're about to see are Nordic teams, all of which have some really exciting ideas. Now, as with all of our Dealstream programs, which you may or may not have seen before, each startup will have a 2-minute pitch video, followed then by a 5-minute live Q&A. That's the setup that we go with. We're trying to replicate a live pitch environment. So all of these startups that you're about to see are seeking funding. If you're interested in contacting the teams, then please stay tuned. I will share all about how you can contact them. Welcome along to this special Nordic edition of Dealstream. Now, as ever, joining me for the duration of this Dealstream episode is an investor, and today that is Silvija Seres. Welcome along, Silvija. How are you doing?
Thank you, James. I'm doing very well.
Good. Well, it's lovely to see you. Silvija, you've spent time in enormous companies. You're a board member, a CEO, an investor. How do you assess clean tech right now? What do you think of it as a space at the moment?
I think we're at a really interesting inflection point where we've moved actually from, greenwashing our annual reports and talking about sustainability as a nice to have, as a polite thing for the future, into a real growth engine. So I see lots of new services and lots of new products that are actually able to monetize this need to be clean across all industries.
And you're someone, obviously, that spends a lot of time studying startups as well. What are the major qualities, I suppose, that you're on the lookout for from startups?
I'm a scientist by training. I'm a researcher, and I used to work a lot with artificial intelligence and deep tech. And so to begin with, it was all about, the smartest minds creating the most complex products, the nicest solutions that the world has ever seen. I think in the run of maybe the last 15 years where I've been putting money in different companies, I've learned that it's more important to choose the team. So I guess it's not a very original answer. Most people will tell you that, but trying to find a team that has this trio at the top, the CEO with the external view, the COO with the internal view, and the technology officer that knows how to build it. And then trying to see that they are able to, that they care, dare, and deliver. So care for a problem, dare to think big, and, hold out while you're trying to survive.
Well, the startups that we've got on today's program are definitely daring to dream big, Silvija. I'm really excited to speak to some of them. Let's have a little look at what's coming up in today's program. So in a few moments, we're going to be finding out more about Spin Drive, Nature Preserve, Ocean Oasis, and Switcher, some of the companies that you can see there, startups based right across the Nordics. But before we begin, we do, of course, have to issue our legal notice, and that is that the information provided in Dealstream is only intended for investment professionals in the EU, the UK, and Switzerland. You can see that section there. Who is it for? Climate-KIC doesn't provide investment advice nor any representation about the companies featured. So if you do choose to invest, it is your capital at risk, of course. Let's get stuck into this edition of Dealstream. Okay, without further ado, our very first startup today. It is called Irriot, a company specializing in wireless precision irrigation. A huge market awaits them. And here to explain more is Johan.
My name is Johan Wendt, and I'm here to introduce you to Irriot, which stands for Irrigation Internet of Things. By the year 2025, about 2/3 of the world population may be facing water shortage, and we have a growing population that needs to be fed. What not many people know is that the agricultural sector stands for about 70% of the fresh water consumption, and this is where the most water is wasted and the greatest savings can be done. Irriot is a wireless precision irrigation automation platform, and with our solution, farmers can reduce their water consumption with 50% and it also increase their crop yield by 30%. Our solution is completely wireless. The installation is very fast, it runs on solar power, it's extremely scalable. Also, you can use as many sensors as you want, which gives you a very high precision. Installed and ready, our solution costs about 1/3 of our competitors, which are the wire-based systems. Here is the ecosystem of eRiot. What you see in the green circle is a standalone system that can be installed anywhere in the world, literally even on the moon. But if you want to add weather service, external sensor data, multiple users, collect big data and so on, you will need some kind of internet connectivity. Our solution is protected. We are currently patent pending on 1 patent and we have 4 other patent candidates. Today we have a ready for market product that we started to sell in June through real resellers and also directly to customers. We have a network of resellers in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Germany, Israel, Ireland and Russia, and we have sold to almost 40 customers over 8 countries. The market for smart irrigation automation was valued to $2.4 billion last year and is expected to grow to $6.7 billion in 5 years. We are currently looking to raise 350,000 euros in order to faster grow our sales.
And Johan joins us on Dealstream now. Welcome along, Johan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, it's good to see you. I think the thing that stuck out most for me in that video was if you wanted to, you could install one of your modules on the moon. So that was very entertaining to listen to. Look, let's get into some questions then. Who are your customers?
The majority of our customers are farmers of high-value crops such as berries, fruits, nuts, and flowers. But we also have several nurseries, cemeteries, botanical gardens, public areas, and even sports arenas.
Silvija, over to you.
I'm sorry that something was breaking up with the sound while I was trying to listen to your video, so I didn't hear the essence of your tech. Can you tell me what's the most difficult kind of side of the technical solution here?
Well, so what we have built is a system that can automate irrigation for farmers, and we do it completely wireless. Our competitors today, they do it by digging down wires all over the field, and this is not very practical due to cable breakage, but also in reality, most farmers can't automate using wires, since if there is a road or a river or a pile of rocks, you simply can't dig down wires. And by automating the irrigation and letting our system control the irrigation, the farmers can reduce the usage of water by 50% and increase their crop yield by 30%. This is actually quite conservative figures, and for some crops, the figures can be even higher.
What's the installation cost or process?
That of course depends on the size of your farm and how many fields and how many volts that you need to be automated. But the average order that we have is for 5,000-6,000 euros, and then we have subscription fees where the farmers subscribe either to a basic software or a professional version.
Johan, what's the technology behind the wireless network? Because like you say, your competitors are all wired, so presumably that's been quite tricky to assemble.
Yeah, so we have a team of engineers that spent more than 20 years at Ericsson developing professional telecommunication networks, both software and hardware. And our base station communicates with the remote stations using LoRa. Now, LoRa stands for long range radio, and it basically works like the Wi-Fi that you have in home. The only difference is that the Wi-Fi is fantastic at sending very big data packages for a short distance. LoRa, on the other hand, is fantastic sending small data packages for a very long distance. So we can communicate with our remote station for over 5 kilometers, or a radius of 5 kilometers, which is more than enough than almost every field that we have, the farmer that we've met this far.
Is there a feedback loop so that it can be adjusted depending on the state of the soil?
Absolutely. So you also, we work a lot with sensors, everything from soil moisture sensors to rain sensors, flow meters, salinity levels or pH. So that is how we get the precision in the precision in the precision irrigation.
Johan, that's all we've got time for. We've got to leave it there, but thank you so much for being part of Dealstream. Good luck in your fundraising.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, one down, 4 more to go in today's Nordic special edition of Dealstream. Johan gets us off to a stellar start, doesn't he? We're heading now from Sweden to Finland, from irrigation to magnetic bearings. SpinDrive is the next startup, and Nikita is their co-founder.
Hello, my name is Nikita and I'm co-founder of the Finnish company SpinDrive. SpinDrive reduces customer equipment lifecycle costs by 35%. Around 40% of the electricity worldwide is consumed by rotating electrical machines. However, these machines are not efficient from the process perspective and require massive maintenance. SpinDrive improves the energy efficiency of the industrial processes by at least 10% and allows 2-year payback time by providing active magnetic bearings to the original equipment manufacturers. Magnetic bearings are levitating the rotational part of the machine, completely eliminating friction. It has a similar operating principle as a maglev train, but for rotating machinery. We provide a tailored design and serial production of active magnetic bearings for original equipment manufacturers of turbo compressors, turbo blowers, and microturbines, where the market size is above 4 billion euros. SpinDrive is one of the enablers of the future technologies, including hydrogen utilization and transportation, more electric aircrafts, flywheels, and small modular reactors, to name a few. These future and current markets hold the potential to sell hundreds of thousands of SpinDrive units. SpinDrive has paying customers in Europe and Asia. We are running the projects with the leading OEMs in our target markets, and we have purchase orders of our products for 300,000 euros. We have also letters of intent for more than 3 million euros of annual unit deliveries. SpinDrive has raised a €500,000 seed investment round last year, and currently we are looking for a €2 million Series A round investment to sell hundreds of units in 2 or 3 verticals. Join us in our journey towards energy efficient and maintenance-free machinery.
Nikita, welcome along to Dealstream. How's it going?
Very good, very good.
Well, it's good to see you. A couple of questions that Silvija and I have got for you. I'll start things off. Just give me a sense, Nikita, because it seems like the total addressable market could be enormous, potential future applications almost limitless. So just give me a sense of just how many customers you could receive.
So I would say if we're focusing only on our beachhead market, which is original equipment manufacturers of compressors, there are around 75 original equipment manufacturers worldwide, which could be interested in SpinDrive technology. And each of these customers, they have the potential for us to sell, let's say, from 20 to around 200 units per product line. And usually the customers, they have 1 to 5 product line, which makes it something like 1 to 5 million euro revenue for SpinDrive alone.
Okay, so my turn. I'm trying to understand how big a change this requires from the people who are putting this into their products. You know, it sounds like a paradigm change that is not very easy to kickstart when you're small. So how do they re-engineer their products so that they can use your tools?
Yeah, basically there are 2 ways possible. The first way is that when they develop in their new product line, then they integrate our solution from the very beginning. So it's a bit longer process. But also the second thing is that the retrofit solution is also possible for OEM. And in this case, they are just replacing their existing bearings with our active magnetic bearings, which is of course a faster way and a bit easier way to integrate our solution. But
Nikita, what does
some involvement, engineering involvement is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. What does the roadmap look like for the next couple of years for SpinDrive, Nikita?
Yeah, so we are launching the serial product sales in Q1 2021. And we're planning to sell around 50 to 60 units next year. And in 2022, we're expecting around 2 million euro revenue from the product sales. Also next year, we're launching our condition monitoring service and expecting the first paying customers for this condition monitoring service in 2022.
So I'm still back to barriers to entry. I'm trying to understand from all the many markets that you listed there, is there somebody that has a particular pain point that you think you should be attacking first?
Yeah, absolutely. Our beachhead market, as I mentioned, it's OEM of turbo compressors because the manufacturers there, they require energy efficient, maintenance-free, completely oil-free drivetrains with the IoT condition monitoring capabilities. So that's exactly where we're attacking because it's actually all the benefits which our technology provides.
Nikita, we'll leave it there. You did brilliantly. Thank you so much for coming on this edition of DealStream.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nikita from SpinDrive there. We are well underway in this Nordic edition of DealStream, and I should point you in the direction of the Climate-KIC Investor Marketplace. That is where, if you like any of the startups that you see today, you can get in touch with them and form a relationship there. So it is the Climate-KIC Investor Marketplace. Please do log on and create an account. There's a whole host of really exciting startups listed there. You can tailor your searches based exclusively on your type of investment, how much you are asking for, and so on. But for now, let's continue with today's deal stream and into our very next startup, Nature Preserve. Their tagline is "Every fruit deserves a second chance." And here to tell us more is Anantha.
Hello, my name is Anantha. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nature Preserve. Nature Preserve is a sustainable food tech company. We re-engineer surplus fruits and vegetables into natural and healthy shelf-stable food ingredients. We produce an ingredient with a story that has positive impact on climate and the local economies. Within the next 30 years, we need to grow 70% more food. This task is extremely challenging because the agricultural land and natural resources are in short supply. Ironically, almost half of all fruits and vegetables produced in the world are not consumed by us. Making our food systems efficient is essential for the long-term survival of our species. One of the reasons for food waste is an inefficient food supply chain. By nature, fresh fruits and vegetables comes with a short shelf life, and if one were to monetize on surplus, it has to be processed into a shelf-stable form. However, the industry that could do this has become so centralized and only work with large and predictable quantities. Our solution is the Nature Preserve's processing unit, a decentralized food processing solution where fruits and vegetables could be processed anywhere in the food supply chain. We have miniaturized a large pureeing facility into a container. Fruits and vegetables get washed, crushed, sterilized, and packed into bags. The resulting purees have a shelf life of anywhere between 6 months to 24 months. We do climate impact analysis on all of our ingredients. Fruit and vegetable surplus generated from farm to retail value chain is valued anywhere between $200 to $300 billion. Fruit and vegetable ingredient market is in billions, so there's plenty of opportunities to sell these processed ingredients. We are raising €1 million on a 4 million pre for our seed round. Join us to minimize food waste by building a sustainable and robust food system. Thank you.
And Anantha is on DealStream with us now. Hello to you, Anantha. How's it going?
It's going pretty well, thanks.
Well, look, Silvija is alongside me. I've asked all of the first questions so far. I'll let Silvija go first this time.
Okay. So Anantha, wonderful story as well. I was wondering, how do we guarantee the quality of the safeness, I guess, of the solution?
Yeah, good question. Safeness, we use, so we work with our suppliers that's further upstream on the supply chain, namely farms and and logistics centers. So the quality of the fruits and vegetables are pretty high. Safety-wise, we use proper sterilization technologies to make sure all the harmful bacteria are destroyed. So the end product is a high-quality, consistent, and microbiologically safe product.
Anantha, it was fascinating to watch your video and to see that sort of micro unit in action, I suppose. Talk me through how that works. Do you bring it around to certain places? Talk me through exactly how that process works.
Yeah. So first what we do is we identify the surplus streams, then we identify the buyers. Then we take the unit, put it at a strategic location, i.e. the on-site or on a strategic location, process it, do the climate impact analysis. By the way, we buy the ingredients at a discounted price, raw materials at a discounted price. After we process it, we sell to ingredient companies and CPG brands at market price.
How much money do you need to get started, to scale this up from being a flying circus to being an industrial machine?
1 million euros. That would give us 18-month runway, almost 2 years. That is to bring the unit to the market, show unit economics works, and scale our solution.
And Anantha, how has COVID-19 impacted your business? I imagine it has quite significantly.
It has. It's a bit difficult to raise funds during these times, but what COVID-19 has shown is these long supply chains are not sustainable. The agricultural systems could keep farming, but the processing and logistic streams gets broken down in a pandemic. So that's where our solution could be much more attractive, because we could do local processing. So we could put these units anywhere in our local farming communities, turn fruit into a shelf-stable form, and bring it back to human consumption. So in a way, COVID has shown that longer food supply chains are unsustainable, and the shorter you make the food value chain, it becomes much more sustainable.
Anantha, that's all we've got time for. We are really getting through it today, but good luck with your fundraising, and thank you so much for being part of DealStream.
Thank you very much for your time.
Just 2 more startups to speak to today. Really fascinating hearing from Anantha. The time is absolutely flying by, isn't it? A real variety of businesses as well. And we're now moving into yet another different sector, specifically wave power. Ocean Oasis in Norway are specialists in harnessing the power of the ocean to create a world where water scarcity is no longer an issue. Here's Christine to explain more.
In Ocean Oasis, we are developing a new and sustainable way of producing fresh water using wave power. The world is running out of fresh water, and it's not possible to cover demand without extensive desalination, the process of making fresh water from seawater. Already, more than 300 million people rely on desalination for their fresh water supply, and this number is expected to triple by 2050. One of the challenges with desalination is that it's energy intensive, relying on either a stable electricity grid, CO2 intensive energy sources, or land intensive options. In Ocean Oasis, we apply Norway's offshore and maritime expertise to new and sustainable use of the oceans. Our solution uses wave power, a renewable energy source, to directly drive a seawater reverse osmosis desalination process without going via electricity production. This is what makes us competitive. Our inventor and CTO Thomas Berge Johannessen has been developing the Ocean Oasis concept over 10 years already, with 2 patents granted on the technology. Our analysis tools have been verified by model testing and several third-party studies. Today's desalination global annual production is 36 billion cubic meters with a 20% growth rate. Our total serviceable market is reaching 5 billion euros. Sustainable solutions to cope with this demand are limited, and we can supply water to coastal utilities, industrial consumers, and aquaculture in coastal locations and islands. In our target markets, we see that we can offer a sustainable, flexible, and modular solution, mitigating local environmental challenges related to brine disposal. We are now raising 600,000 euros to build and demonstrate a first full-scale pilot here in Norway. With the pilot in the water, we will have removed almost all technical and cost risk moving forward. Would you like to create true impact on one of the world's most pressing challenges? Let's talk.
Well, we can do just that because Christina is with us now. Hello to you, Christina. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Silvia is with me as well. We're both really interested to learn some more. I'll ask the first question. Christina, tell us a little bit more about the solution itself. How big is the unit? How do you build it, and so on?
So the unit itself, it's a floating unit that's supposed to go in the ocean. It's optimized for each specific location depending on the wave environment there. Typically, it will be around 20 to 25 meters in diameter and the same depth to the keel. And such a unit in a moderate wave climate, let's say outside the coast of Morocco or the Canary Islands, one unit will produce on average 1,600 cubic meters of water per day. That equals the water consumption of 2,000 households if we look at an EU average.
I was just going to ask you about that the countries in most need of desalinated water probably don't have that much wave power. Can you teach us a little bit about, I think that desalination is very energy intensive. And so how do you actually get the thing to produce enough energy, and how much energy is needed to transfer the water to where it's going to be consumed?
So the energy consumption for desalination is used to pressurize the seawater to run it through a standard reverse osmosis desalination process, which means pressurizing seawater up to approximately 50 bars and then letting it flow past a membrane. And we need a certain wave climate to be able to do that. So the markets we're looking into are areas such as the Canary Islands, Portugal, Morocco, some parts of the Mediterranean. And then we see South Africa and Namibia, Chile, Australia, and Oman. And also the Northern Sea, so at the coast along Norway, Scotland, and Ireland is also a possible target market for us with the aquaculture industry here.
I mean, that was going to be definitely my next question, was how you decide, I suppose, where you place these units. Christina, give me a sense of the environmental benefits of this solution then.
So one part of it is where the energy comes from. Wave power is a renewable energy source, and by using that in a standalone system, we avoid using electricity from either the grid with various sources of energy, or diesel, which is often used in remote locations. So one unit replacing, for example, diesel-driven desalination will save 700,000 liters of diesel annually. So we can see that we would like to go to remote locations where we can come up on top and deliver sustainable fresh water to shore. And the other part of the story is that by actually doing the desalination process away from shore, we avoid the local environmental impact of the brine discharge, the very salty water that's the leftover product from the process that will dissolve more quickly in the ocean currents.
Christina, I'm very fascinated by how you actually are probably using some ideas that were tested on oil platforms into this very green solution. Can you just tell us if is there any transfer of knowledge from the solutions we know a lot about in oil?
It's basically from the various attempts to make wave power work in the past. Wave power for electricity production is very difficult, but there's a lot of efforts putting into that challenge as well. What we see is that we're using the wave power to directly pressurize seawater to drive it through a desalination process, which is a different story. And we believe that that's a very good approach to making wave power work in a couple of years' time.
Christina, it's a real pleasure to speak to you. The very best of luck going forward in your fundraising.
Thank you.
Right then, on to our very last startup of the day on this special Nordic edition of Dealstream, and I'm very excited about this one. The sector we're moving into is solar power. Many of us know, of course, how big the industry is already, how big it could still yet grow, and our next startup is called Switcher.
At Switcher, we build and optimize large-scale solar power plants located in Europe, so that you don't have to install solar panels on your own roof. Saving with Switcher is easy. When you save in one of Switcher's solar parks, you contribute to the production of 100% clean energy, while also reducing your personal CO2 footprint and getting a fixed annual return of 4 to 6%, depending on which solar park you choose. Saving with Switcher means you start earning money from day one, and payments are made into your bank account. When you feel it is time to sell your panels, you can do this at any time at the purchase price, no matter how long you've owned them. Daniel and Sarah are saving €250 a month for their children. The money they earn is now reinvested each year. And after 25 years, their money has grown to over €175,000. At the same time, they have also avoided 186 tons of CO2, which is roughly the same as 74 round-trip flights from Europe to Thailand. When saving with Switcher, you contribute to a brighter future for both nature and mankind. So start saving today and let the sun work for you and the planet.
Well, joining us today from Switcher is Lars. Lars, welcome to Dealstream. How are you doing?
Thank you. Very well, thanks.
I've got Silvija alongside me. We're both going to ask you a couple of quick questions. Look, talk to me, Lars, about the market, because solar is becoming an increasingly saturated market, of course. What are the major differences you would say between you and your competitors?
Well, in Switcher, we don't have really many at the moment. I mean, the solar industry is big, but companies that divide infrastructure into small pieces is not a big market yet.
What's the process for installing, these solar panels on the roof, and how much customer involvement is there?
There's two ways of getting access to solar, industrial scale solar. It's either you go in the second-hand markets as we are used to, or we can build new parks. And that's for a 5 megawatt plant with thousands of panels, it takes 3 months to install.
Lars, we got a taste of it in your video just there about how the average Joe would want to start using this. Could you just talk me through the process of, I don't know, John, who's just bought a new house? How does he use Switcher?
Well, what Switcher do, we take part of large-scale infrastructure PV plants, solar parks, and we divide them into smaller pieces like a panel, as you see behind me. And then we give everyone access to take part of one panel. It's not on your rooftop. It's in the first plant on the Switcher site, on the Switcher platform, is a PV park in southern Italy. So what you do then, you enter the Switcher global platform, you enter into and log into, and you buy one or more panels, and then you directly are a part owner of your share of the PV park in this case in Italy.
I'm trying to understand the geographical aspect of this. So can I choose which country I want to be a PV owner in? And how do I deal with the political risk, let's say subsidies in the future?
Well, at the moment on the Switcher platform, you have to choose Italy because that's where we are present at the moment. It will be more countries coming up. The political risk on infrastructure and the stability of the cash flow and the income and the selling of power, kilowatt hours, is a very stable market.
And Lars, what sort of sorry, Lars, go for it.
No,
I was just going to say, what does the roadmap ahead, I suppose, look like for Switcher at the moment?
Well, we are now, since we are live with the power plant on the platform, and you can go directly in and buy a panel now, and you will be an owner, and you will have your yield on that one. We are trying to ramp up, let's say, a bit controlled, because if with this, let's say, if it goes viral on like Google, YouTube, Facebook, and so on, we don't have access to enough panels at the moment. So we are ramping up now, and we are putting more PV parks into our portfolio.
Silvija, over to you. One more question.
How do you see the solar panel industry developing in the future?
Well, there is no doubt that the components is continuously going down in price. The solar is in 2018 and 19 is the energy source that is the most installed new capacity globally, and I think that we will see that continue to rise.
Lars, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for bringing Switcher to Dealstream. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Silvija, debrief time. What did you think of the 5 startups that we just saw today?
I thought they were very nice. I think they were more, but I guess that's maybe normal for clean tech or for this kind of sector that we are in. There is more deep tech here. There is more advanced solutions that I think are maybe, going to be more difficult to implement than a simple market solution that you could see, let's say, in fintech or so. I think they have 5 brilliant ideas, and then I think it's going to be very much dependent on how they actually manage to find those first big partners, or first how do they get to critical mass in terms of market and rollout.
And I suppose that ties into what you were saying earlier on about how the importance of the team and the people behind it really plays a significant part there.
To be honest, the format, it's the first time I'm a part of your pitch contest, and I think the format is incredibly exciting. It's very high speed, but it's almost too short. So I wish there was a little bit more time to get the feel of, the strength of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do have to cram it in a very short space of time. But Silvija, it's been a real pleasure having you alongside me in this episode of Dealstream. So thank you so much for being with us. Yes, and as Silvija was mentioning, it is a very short amount of time, isn't it, to learn a little bit more about these startups. But if you want to do just that, then as I said earlier, you should absolutely log on and create an account at the investor marketplace, the Climate-KIC investor marketplace. There you can log on and see a whole host of startups from right across Climate-KIC, all the way across Europe, with a whole host of different sectors, different asks, and you can tailor your needs depending on what you're looking for. So as I say, it's a really well worth doing, logging on to the Climate-KIC investor marketplace and creating an account there. Okay, there we have it. Some really exciting startups on today's deal stream. Find out more about those on the Climate-KIC marketplace. Thank you to them for joining me. Thank you to Silvija for asking those really interesting questions. And thank you to you for watching. We'll see you in the next deal stream.